What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you've been having a nice time of the week. That's from Monday until today, probably on Wednesday. And I'm also doing fine. Wasn't able to do the session, I think, on the past 2 days. I was working out on something, but now I'm back with some bit of analysis about Bitcoin and what it's doing to the price because I've been seeing a lot of bullish sentiments. People are talking of $18,000 or $17,000 was the bottom. We are now going to 30K, same euphoria we had from 34K to 40K to 42K to 48K. It's just called a relief rally. This might just be a relief rally before maybe before another continuous dump. I've used the word maybe, or maybe we might drop back to 18K. Maybe that's the lowest and then pump back up. Nothing is guaranteed. But what you're seeing currently within the SP 500 and the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones, we're seeing a bit of a dump at the open of the market. It was around negative 0.31%, but it's pumped highly after 1 hour to 0.71% on the greener side. The Nasdaq to 1.62% and the Dow Jones to 0.15%. So you're not seeing much volatility. By much volatility, I mean you're not seeing much liquidity coming onto stocks compared to what has been happening previously. Look at Tesla, 0.99%. Netflix 4.35%. It went high because of the earnings that came out yesterday. It pumped up to 10% to 12%, then dropped down immediately to an increase of 6% to 5% within 24 hours. Apple at 1.51%. Apple are launching uh, the new laptop with the charger, something of that sort. But we'll talk about that later on. We're here because of Bitcoin and its volatility. So is it time to simply short BTC, or are we having the continuation on the upside? My only thoughts right now that I would like to say is that I would disagree going long onto Bitcoin currently. I will disagree, and I'm also going to give reasons why. I will also disagree on going long, especially on altcoins. Let's say, for example, BTC drops, 10% immediately from now. You'll be on a loss. You'll be on a huge loss if you're going long. If you're on a 125x, you have simply borrowed a margin of 125x to get onto your long position. And in case of an increase of 1% to 2%, you are liquidated on your margin. So please be careful with leveraging, especially on high leverage on Bitcoin. So we move on to BTC. First of all, I'd like to start with the SP 500 before I move over to BTC. So if you can check the SP 500, obviously we had a dump today in the markets on the SP 500. I like using SP 500 compared to the rest of the indicators because they have more equities within them compared to Nasdaq and Dow Jones. So we saw that dump in the market just today. It dropped up to how much? No, this is the dollar index. So it's the SP 500 it is. So we saw that a bit of a drop today. It dropped from 39.70 to 39.22. It was at 39.22. It dropped a little further at 9.22, and then we were at this resistance line at the price of 3,956 points. That was in within the SP 500. And now you can see we've been able to now surpass the 50 exponential moving average, which is quite high. The number four, or not, you need to look at the segment 12 on the Elo12. We are now having that completion rate. We need to see where the 5 will finish at. Remember, we started from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and to 5. Where will this fifth segment be at? Because I simply increased my position to the fifth Elo12, and now it's at the price of 3,965. We've already surpassed our first resistance line. We'll be able to break out further for it to be the support. Remember, when the resistance lines are broken, they now become the support. Will this now be the support as you're looking to the next higher target of 4,163? The target, I'll look at 4,153 to 4,163 is a target to look. If you can be able to fill this gap, then we'll be on this zone for a while, simply moving slowly by slowly, having that VWAP again, the same VWAP we had over here. So we'll have a bit of a pump down, pump down, pump down. But the funny thing that I'm seeing in the market currently, that I'm not seeing that much volume that it has been, it is currently compared to how it has been before. I'm looking at the increase I'm seeing at 0.77%, 1.72%, 0.23%. That increase isn't like the previous times, 2.94%, 1.2%, 0.3%. The question is, are the whales trying to short from here, simply providing an exit liquidity to the long-term traders or to spot traders? I would say this looks like a trap. I would say this looks like a trap. A lot of bearish, still macro bearish sentiments in the market, especially on the climate change. And now with the inflation data of the UK came out. And before I go that, let's go to the inflation in the UK. As you can see, the annual inflation rate in the UK increased to 9.4% in June of 2022, which is the highest rate since 1982. How many years ago is that? That is simply 40 years ago, and slightly above market forecast to 9.3%. The biggest price pressure became from the cost of motor fuels, which increased at a record of 42.3%, as average petrol prices rose 18.1% per litre in June 2022, the largest monthly rise on record since at least 1990. So you're having a record high over here. If you can look on July 2021, we had an inflation rate of 2%, then it increased to 3.2%, then went averagely on 3.1%, pumped to 4.2%, pumped to 5.1%, 5.4%. By the end of January, we saw an increase up to 5.5%. That is the beginning of this year. Then it increased again to 6.2%, 7%, 9%, 9.1%, 9.4%. So we had a bit of some average over here between 9 to 9.1%, same that we had from 3.2% to 3.1%. We will be having other increases on the inflation data within UK. Now, the consumer price index it previously was 120.8, we're having it at 121.80. Let's look at export prices. It was as 113.10. It's just increased by the 30 cents. Import prices have increased by 10 cents. Food inflation has increased by 1.2%. 1.2%. Which is on CPI housing utilities has now also increased by 0.4%. CPI transportation has increased by uh, 3.1%. Producer prices have increased by 3 point, but it is an increased by points of 129 minus 4. That will be around 2.8 points. So that means the manufacturing industry within the UK might not do that well on the long run. But the funny thing is that you're seeing unemployment rate, there's a difference between the GDP and unemployment in the market. Look at 2008, where we had that crash of the market. The GDP was coming down slowly, but we're having increase of jobs. How was that possible? Increase of jobs would slow growth in the economy. Same thing we are experiencing right now. We are seeing slow growth in the economy is starting to trickle down, but jobs in the market are increasing. That means majority of citizens globally or within the US are starting to retire. And as it can be seen during COVID time, we also saw some individuals saying they want to retire from working and they want to venture onto other things that may be dealing with cryptocurrencies, dealing with stocks, and also dealing with their own businesses, because you are working at the same time you are seeing high inflation. So what is the worth of the salary that you're getting compensating the amount of inflation that is in the market currently? That means within 1 year we have seen an increase of 9.3%. If you are earning probably 50,000 Kenya shillings, your money might now be worthless at a level at less than 10%, meaning that it's worthless less than, let's say, $5,000. It will be worth less than, it's now worth less than $4,500 as per now compared to how it was before, especially due to increase of standards living in the European countries and the African countries and the whole continent as a whole. So the SP 500 has pumped to the 50 exponential moving average, and people are now celebrating, trying to think that it will now move to 4,153 points within the SP 500. No one is sure of that. But look at the same VWAP that you're having over here, is the same transition that you normally have before. Same thing that's normally happen over here. 0 to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4, and then to 5. Then we come back down a bit. We pump back a bit, we come down a bit. Same thing's happening over here. 0 to 1, to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5. fifth segment where then you had one dip down. But I started my Elliott wave at from zero over here at the price of 3,651, went up, came back down, went up, and we finished that M formation. That was a bearish movement. M, M, and M up to the fourth wave. From the zero wave to the fourth wave, you're having an M formation, but you simply pump back up. So the price right now is at 960, and that's where I kept my price. If I look at the DXY, I'm seeing also a bit of a pump beginning on the DXY to 0.24%. That means there's a high demand on the dollar. So on within myself, I would want to maybe buy the DXY on spot, or maybe go long on DXY, as I'm expecting BTC to start retracing down. I'm not seeing the same volume spike that was there before in Bitcoin having the same impact that is there currently. The same volume that was there yesterday, is it the same volume that you're having now? And I'll explain why. Now, DXY dumped because BTC started pumping, and now we are starting to see that pump of DXY from 106.432 to now 106.928. And then I'm moving over to BTC. Look at same thing that's normally happen. They pump, they build their own shots, they built they began building their longs from 33,372. Then we pumped up, they built their shots. We came back down as a double top, as a double bottom from $45,000 back to 35,726. So it simply bounced on this resistance and the support line, pumped back again. They built their longs at 46,554, came back down to 37,609, and then we pumped back up to 48k, and this was the top. And then we had that crash, and that top is from the bearish divergence that we'll be seeing on BTC. And this bearish trend line that I'm drawing over here, I'm drawing from the top of $68,000 to $69,000. Now, same thing is happening over here. We saw that a massive drop. We saw that immense drop at 17,645. We pumped back up to 22,399. Not quite, but almost, dumped to 19,072, pumped back again to 22,162, went down back again to 18,134, and now we are pumping back up, and now we are at the price, at the highest resistance within the bullish trend line at 24,121 at the 50 exponential moving average. So maybe on the best point of view, we might be ranging over here just a bit of some time. What does that mean? We may pump, dump, we touch that bearish trend line, we came back down immediately. What might happen over here? We also might pump, we pumped, we dumped, we pumped, we dumped, we pumped, come back down a bit, then maybe go long again up to 26,742, having some exit liquidity within this range over here from the price of 18,524 to maybe the price of 26,415 to the largest resistance of Bitcoin within the 1 day time frame, which is $27,000. That's the largest resistant line of BTC. If you're able to pass this, that will seem quite bullish. If you're able to touch at least the $28,000 and 46 to $27,000, that will be seen quite on BTC, but I don't think we'll arrive there aggressively, but slowly by slowly. So the top over here at this line you're seeing is at 24,200. What might happen? We might start trickling down over here, pump over here, and then dump maybe to $15,000 or $10,000. Same thing happened to here. We touched that bearish trend line, we came back down, but it doesn't have to mean that we simply have to be near the bearish trend line so that we can drop further down. Someone is asking me, I know someone want to ask me, why are we seeing the large trend lines, large trend lines on this range on number one compared to number two? The volume that was here from the price of 34,000 to 48,000, people were quite bullish. Some were just at a loss of 60% to 50% or 70% on Bitcoin, and they had something to sell. Over here, we're having small volume because alts have dropped 90% to 95%, some even 98%. When will they wake up from the dead? And that's why we're having small spike volume over here compared to the volume that you're seeing over here. Even if you can look at the chart, if you can look at the pumps that have been happening over here, look at these pumps. They are quite big compared to these. We are seeing huge pumps over here. Same thing, we are seeing huge pumps when you are pumping at all times high on Bitcoin. But look at the dumps. They're coming aggressively. Same thing is happening over here. We've seen big pumps and dumps compared to the big pumps and dumps you're seeing over here. That means retailers are simply out of the market, but whales are they're doing this year, which is the dollar cost averaging on these prices. So on myself at 24,200, I believe shorts are being built over here by whales. So what I would like to do, I don't think I would like to go long from here. If I bought some altcoins on spot, I'll start booking my profits, but I'll let my altcoins remain there as long as we start breaking down to some certain prices on where I will want the market to fill at, or where I want the BTC CME gap to fill that. But currently in the market from here, I wouldn't want to go long, but rather I would like to go short on myself. Lucky if you get short from here with this technical analysis, but I'd like to get short from here on Bitcoin, just beginning with 1x. I want to be risk averse. I want to be careful with my trade and my profits and my stop losses, but I would like just to keep it at 1x, beginning of 1x, seeing where Bitcoin might head over to. But the highest peak that I'm seeing Bitcoin might head over to is at the price of $28,000 to $27,000. This is on the 1 day time frame. On the 4 hour time frame, we are seeing something else different. Look at the bearish trend line that is here. That simply have drawn from the price of $48,000 back to the price of $18,000 that it touched. We are seeing the 50, 100, and the 200. It simply surpassed all EMAs and it's breaking that bearish trend line. This seems quite risky on myself, breaking this bearish trend line. The question is, how long will it last over here? Are we going to pump, dump a bit, then move back up? By moving back up, I'll be talking of 28K, or are we starting to trickle back down from this bearish trend line? Whenever it starts breaking the bearish trend line, it starts to seem bullish. But what if this breaking of the bearish trend line on the 4 hour time frame is a bullish trend line for people to think that $18,000 to $17,000 was the bottom of Bitcoin? So within my best case scenario, that's why I've been saying, look at the 1 day time frame and the 4 hour time frame. You are being informed that this is not the range to go long on BTC. This is not the range to go long. You are risking on resistance lines of BTC. Look at the look at the bearish trend line that is being broken currently, and any other. Look at also on the resistance line that you're seeing within our horizontal raise. We are seeing a pump up to from $18,000, $19,274 to the pump up to 24,348. And now you want to take along from this position, and also you want to take along from this position. And that's why I'm telling you, you are simply risking. And that's why within the SP 500, you can also see we have also passed that resistance line at the price of 39.26, and where we are now at the 3,965 points. So you are risking going long on these resistance lines. And that's how we are seeing a bit of some rejection over here. Since we arrived at the price of above 3,926, we've seen rejection. On Bitcoin, since we've touched this since we've touched this horizontal line over here, now we are seeing a bit of some resistance. And also on the 4 hour time frame, we are seeing a bit of some resistance. As you can see, there's a bit of some just rejection, just a bit from this price. So the whales might be building their shorts from here. So be careful. I'm not meaning that we'll drop significantly fast or effectively fast, but we might just drop bit by bit. With the dollar index, I'm seeing the dollar index beginning to pump. You can see it broke its support line. Now it went back down a bit, retested it, and now it's coming back a bit out of it. The question is it going to break this support line that it was before? Move back higher, and back higher, I will now keep it at the point of, at the DXY, at the point of 107.972. If it's able to fill this gap within this range from the price of 106.871 to the price of 107.972, I will say it seems bullish on the dollar index, that's the DXY, and then it will have a breakout of 107.972 and then peak higher at 109.408. Same thing to Euro USD, weakening a bit over there, British pound weakening over there, the dollar yen bit weakening, but it's on a neutral level. Oil is beginning to drop a bit. It pumped up to 102. Where is oil? You can check oil over here. It is oil pumped a bit to 102, and now we are seeing it a drop of negative 3.79%. So energy commodities are beginning to drop in prices because of the renewable energy deals that the European countries are having within them to discuss on how they're able to regulate oil, how they're able to kill the demand of oil, and how they're able to increase the supply of oil globally to reduce inflation of food. Now, next up, you're having with the BTC, I'm looking at BTC within the 1 hour time frame. Now, this is what's making me feel a bit bearish. Look at these nice green vector candles just from the bottom. Nice rejection, nice. There's a bit of some disbelief over here. If you can look at the pattern, and this is where euphoria started kicking in. Look at this vector candle from the 100 exponential moving average. We pumped from $20,800 to the price of 22,469, came back down, went on another vector candle. We didn't overcome the previous green vector candle. Then we pumped continuously from the price of 21,681 to the price of 23,555, went sideways, pumped, went sideways, pumped. But if you can look at these previous green vector candles, we're not seeing that large green VWAP vector candle that we should see. We are seeing small buildup of the green vector candles, but a bit of some rejection. We haven't had any correction of BTC, even if you can check within the 1 hour time frame, like a huge correction for it to fill some gap. We haven't seen it demanding having that zigzag formation on a bit or within some zones, except when it pumped up to here, went down, pumped, went down. But you haven't had any redistribution of pattern on the 1 hour time frame. If Bitcoin is able to have a retest to 23,268, then test the price of 22,438, then I would say it will be bullish for a zigzag formation, then another continuation on the upside. But we are seeing Bitcoin moving higher and higher and higher and higher. There's a potential retracement that Bitcoin can drop to 22,438. So if it's able to drop to 23,268, start booking your profits on long, take out your profits on long, and also book your profits if you went on spot. If it's able to retest up to $22,438, then that's a nice price to look at. If it's able to break $22,438 after filling this gap, then I would say that would be bullish on BTC, and we might now be heading back down to maybe the price of $20,000 as the worst case scenario, breaking down to even maybe $18,000. But remember, you're having the FOMC meeting next week. That is between, I think it's on 27th, if I'm not mistaken, to 26th. That will be in within next week. So there's a rumor that maybe it might be 100 basis point to kill the demand, or 75 basis point. We've seen Nigeria have imposed 100 basis point, which is 1% into the economy, that 100 basis point on the interest rates. And now in Canada, I think it is also 100 basis point, and the UN, not the UN, the US might be 100 basis point within next week, or 75 basis point. So if it's high at 100 basis point, that might kill the stocks a bit, that might kill the equities a bit, that might kill the commodities a bit. But able to have that 75 basis point, which is neutral and what everyone is expecting and is priced in the market, we might have a bit of some zigzag formation, and then maybe we might fall further down, because the next inflation data that has come out will determine what the Biden administration has been doing in the market. In the UK is at 9.4%. What about the US? The inflation data of the US came out last week at 9.1%. The question, if it's able to increase up to August to maybe 9.5%, same to UK, or 9.4%, what happens? You start seeing some FUD in the market, people saying that inflation hasn't peaked, and this is where we need to drop further down. Equities start falling down, stocks start falling down, and that's where the whales started building their shorts from. And that's what I'm saying, please be careful. Don't try to build your longs at this point just by spot. If you're going long, not financial advice, be keen with you, be keen with long position in the markets. If you can check at our bookmap, if you can check at our bookmap, you're seeing the price of 24,100 just within at this time frame, but you're not seeing any large green vector candles. Look, there isn't much green vector candles that has happened in the market, just some slow build up because it's at the resistant line. Whales or retailers are now exhausted. BTC has pumped so much. Let's see, will we get a bit of some retracement, or we're going to pump highly on Bitcoin? Number two, we had much liquidity at 24,200 to 24,300. Where has that liquidity gone to? Before I began the session, that liquidity has been wiped out. So we are seeing large liquidity at $24,300 worth 440 BTC, $24,400 worth 456 BTC, $24,500 worth 485 BTC. There isn't much liquidity up there, but you're seeing there's much liquidity over here at the price of $22,000. Why? Why has much liquidity been placed over here at $22,000 compared to it going higher? Might Bitcoin dump to $22,000? We are seeing at a level price of 1,135 Bitcoin is being weighted at the price of $22,000. Is that the target price for the whales? Might you have that exact drop of the market dropping from $24,000 to $22,000? That's a retest of 10%. Let's head over to our chart over here and let me try to check that chart that I had before. So $22,000, you can see I said this gap needs to be filled over here. You've seen with the liquidity that we are being shown over here that there's much liquidity at $22,000 to $21,900 worth 1,135 BTC. And that's why I'm saying if BTC doesn't fill this gap or is not able to fill this gap, I will be quite bullish. I will be quite bearish on BTC, and I'll say this is a bull trap for the whales, and they're building their shots from here. At that point, my point is at 22,438. If I said if I'm able to break this, I'll be bearish on BTC. So we are seeing much liquidity at $22,000. Again, if it's able to break 23,268, I'll start closing my long position. If it's able to move to 20,268, I will stop buying on spot. I'll book my profits on spot, come out fully, wait for a full retracement to 22,538. If I'm able to short from 23,268 to 22,438, and if it's able to break 22,438, then I'll continue retracement down to maybe back to $20,000, 19, or maybe even the $10,000 that people are waiting for. But much liquidity is at $22,000. So let's see if Bitcoin will fill that gap. I might be wrong, I might be right, but it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. That's what might happen in the market. It's a volatile market, so nothing is regulated over here. And if you can check on the Bitcoin liquidations, recently, we have been seeing longs and shorts being liquidated. Majority of shorts got liquidated at the price of 20,423. These are people are thinking that that's the top of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin pumped much, another 10% increase to $24,000, and it wiped out retailers going long, going short. If you can check on the 24-hour time frame, we can see 53.74% of people are going short. Within 12-hour time frame, 53.62% of individuals are going short. That means more than half of the retailers, whales, or whatever are going short on their position. But at the current rate, you are not seeing any negativity except on Ethereum Classic and Matic because they have been highly overbought in the market. Matic doing a 2.5x and or 2.8x. Ethereum Classic also did above 2x. But people are shorting DOT, people are shorting BNB, but Bitcoin is not being shorted at the market. It's on a neutral level of 0.0082. So people's mind were able to change from a negative funding rate to a positive funding rate. But on the DYDX, you're seeing a short of negative 0.0060% on the within the funding rate. Within Ethereum, we are just seeing a short on OKEX, and there's also being a built up of short on DYDX and a built up of short in Binance and OKEX again. So a bit of some shorts being placed there on the market. So look at this gap, ensure that this gap is able to be filled. If it's not filled, become bearish. So I've already said the targets to look at, but I've only looked at this within 1 hour time frame. If I'm looking at Bitcoin within the 1 day time frame, this one is within the 1 day time frame. If you can check the chart within the 1 day time frame, look at the relative strength index. There's normally a high purchasing power on these levels. I'm going to draw this line. So we had one over here at between 70 to 72, which pumped the price of $54,000. We had another type over here up to the pump of $69,000. Then you have had another pump over here, which was a fake pump, another pump over here, use a fake pump, and then another pump over here, which might be another fake pump. So be careful from this zone. That's why I'm saying shorts are being built by whales or the market makers. So over here, we had that pump over here to the VWAP up to $47,000, where we were almost pumped to being overbought, retraced back down, pumped again, retraced back down, but pumped. Then that was the top at 70. We came back down drastically. We are being oversold at 19 to 18. Then we are now pumping back again, and now we are at the price of 64.84. So the largest target that I can look at Bitcoin, if I'm able to pass this resistance, is now I can look at the price of $28,000. But if Bitcoin is able to test the $25,000, $26,000, or $27,000, that can be a nice short position to fill at. But if it's not filling the gap that you're seeing over here within the 1 hour time frame, that will be a bull trap in the market. And this is where I'll start getting short on the high prices of maybe $25,000 or $26,000 or $27,000. But this is not financial advice. So be careful. Look at the SP 500. You can compare the recent volume that we've been having over there with today. They aren't the same with this week. It closed green last week, but not seeing the same this week. Retailers' volume and the world's volume might have picked up that much, and they're building shorts from their position. Okay, I don't know why that got lost a bit. And they're building shorts from their position. So be careful with those price targets that we are looking at in the market. Any other thing that I'd like to talk about? DXY, definitely there's a demand of the dollar. We've talked about inflation in the UK. Then you're having the climate change issue that is coming out. There's a bit of a crisis within the food supply. And in Ethereum, I'll just look at Ethereum as the last one. Just Ethereum as the last one. So be careful to see where the 5 ends up to, and then we'll begin the Elliott wave formation of the 0 to A, B, C, where we'll see where the 0 will drop to, but the 5 pump up to maybe 41, 48, and then we'll have the 0 up to 3,926 or 3,968, then another pump, or we are coming back down. So let's look at it. Ethereum has pumped quietly, has pumped around 57%, just because it's an altcoin. Ethereum is also part of the altcoin, but people are saying that Ethereum market cap can be able to overthrow Bitcoin's market cap. I think that's hilarious. That's quite funny. Maybe not. I'm not sure. So Ethereum, this one is within the 4 hour time frame. So Ethereum, there's a just a huge support over here at 1021. Then it was able to move on a zigzag formation, broke out at 1254. It surpassed all EMAs with the 50, 100, and the 200 exponential moving average. Just look at this chart and you can tell me it's moving higher and higher and higher and higher without any huge correction. Where is the gap being filled on Ethereum? So the gap that might be filled on Ethereum is now up to this zone that I'm looking at, between 1441 between 1258 to 1441. Between 1254 to 1441 is a gap that I'm looking for Ethereum to fill. If you can have a retest to this zone, then break out quite good. If you're able to break the $1,254.62, that will be bullish on that. Then I'll look for the gap to be filled up to 1030, and then maybe we might break that if things are macro bearish in the market. But still, a dump might come any moment from now, which is maybe today, tomorrow, next month, or September. But we might have just a bit of some relief rally. So if I'm saying we are pumping from right now, maybe until mid next year, August, just know that it's a bull trap. It's a bull trap. If you're not able to fill this gap, that might be a bull trap. That might be an exit liquidity. Because if you're having a pump from the bottom, we need to have a retrace down, pump back up, at least a bit of some rejection. But not seeing that rejection over here. We're seeing a continuation pump. So whales are building exit liquidities both in the stock market and the crypto market. If I'm able to look at Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, within 1 week, I like to check out the 2018 chart pattern. This is what I wanted to show you guys as the last one. So I'm done. I want to stay that much longer. So look at the Look at the look at the bearish trend line that I've drawn over here. We've been having a pump from that. It broke that bearish trend line, pumped highly. You can see exactly when it broke that bearish trend line. We saw a huge pump from $7,715 in 2017 to the price of $19,051. We dropped, we touched that support, then again had that VWAP up again, up to 12,555. Came back down, had that price of $6,700, but we pumped back up to $9,498. Then again, we came back down, retested that bearish trend line, came back up, and then had that crash down. And at the lowest point, you can see the volume is decreasing time by time. Look at the pump that are happening over here and the dump. These are large pumps and dumps compared to the large pumps and dump you're seeing here. You're seeing it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller from this zone over here to this zone over here and this zone over here. You can see big, medium, small, big, medium, then small. Then you're having another one during the COVID time, 2020. We are having that bounce from that bearish trend line, pump, dump, pump, dump, pump, and then one large vector candle on the downer side. That was a part of the liquidation level on longs. So it dumped up to 3,659, pumped back up to 5,541, and then started pumping continuously. Same thing you're having over here. Now the current state you're having over here, we haven't seen that large view up down coming down, that large view up, that liquidation point level that you're talking of, large liquidation points. So I've drawn the trend line from the last all-time high that was the previous on the double top, the first double top that we've been seeing, up to the latest bearish trend line. So we pumped up, come back down, large vector candles on the green and the red vector candles, pumped up, came back down, small volume. Are we about to have that large VWAP on the downer side where we might be dropping from maybe $25,000 or $20,000, maybe to even $10,000 just as a week, and then pumping back up to $13,000 or $14,000? Yes, but look at the pumps that we've been seeing from that drop and then compare it to the pump that we're seeing right now in BTC. You can see on the weekly, there's that continuous pattern, sideways continuous pattern. So let's look at it in 2018. Same thing over here. Small little fear pattern, just small little fear patterns as it builds up but continuously. And then look at this pattern that is here with BTC. Now you can compare. Large green vector candle just pumping back up from $19,047. There aren't small patterns as we have been seeing over here, small patterns over here, and there isn't any other small pattern that we have been seeing. Also, there isn't any large pattern that we've seen. Also here, let me zoom this clearly. There isn't any large vector candle, small build up but sideways movement because of a bit of some fear. Let me measure that. How many days was it? 133 days before that large pump. Now let's see over here. This was during the COVID time, pumped highly but not that large vector candle. And then now we are seeing a pump from here compared to, it hasn't even moved sideways for long. Look, drop, pumped, engulfed the candle. The red vector candle was about to engulf the previous green vector candle, and then large green vector candle from 20,452 to 24,140. That's why I'm saying this might be a bull trap. Where did this liquidity come from? This liquidity came from whales, and they must start building their shorts from $27,000 to the $26,000. Those are the market makers. So please, please, please be careful with the market currently by going long. It's a good time to go short, but on a 1x leverage position. Only 1x, but this is not financial advice. Please, 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 this is not financial advice, but you can begin going short by 1x and leaving it there. So 1x will be liquidated when the price of Bitcoin is at $48,000 to $50,000. Maybe that was the bottom. I don't know. But myself, I would like to take a bit of some short. If we can move high, I'll take a bit of some short, maybe from $25,000 to $26,000. And then I'll see if the price of Bitcoin can be able to come back down, test those levels that I was talking of within the CME gap, and then maybe test maybe to $20,000 or maybe back to $19,000. But macro, the reason why I'm shorting is because macro doesn't seem bullish. Macro seems bearish. Macro is not bullish, macro is bearish. So be careful with the trend lines that are happening in the market. Don't look at technical analysis telling you that this is the bottom. Look at the macro analysis that's telling you whether is this the bottom, it is the top, but this is the beginning of the end. 9.4% inflation in the UK isn't a joke. In the US, next month might be even 9.5%. If it's that, then we might drop further. But we are expecting a bit of some relief, maybe up to next month. Or let's listen to what the FOMC meeting will have to be stated, where Jerome Powell will be making a statement and also talking about the rates that they will have to inject into the market, whether it's 75 basis point or 100 basis point next week between Wednesday and Thursday. And from there, we'll see how will the market react to the news. The market is fine. It's reacted fine. Things started pumping. I'll say, okay, it's fine. I'll also go a bit long because of that bullish news. So things are neutral. But what if it's bearish and the market starts reacting bearishly? Maybe next week we might be at $26,000 or $27,000, and that's why we might have that drop maybe from $27,000 if things are bearish back to maybe even $18,000 or below $18,000. So I'm done. What I'd like to say is thank you all for the support. I'll be doing more sessions, and I don't think I'll be doing any session during August time, but I'll be doing more sessions from now until next week. So thank you so much for all the support and the likes. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe in the channel. And also you can look at the Telegram link. It's just on the YouTube bio. There's a Telegram link where you can join the Crypto Moonlix Telegram channel. But thank you so much, and I would like you guys to take care and have a nice and blessed week and day of trading also in the market. And I'm seeing the SP 500 is pumping to 0.95%. 0.95%. So I'll take this fifth segment wave formation over here, building up quite fast. It's building up quite fast. Things are still bullish. Let's see where there will be a completion of this green vector candle. But remember what I would like to say as the last one. When we had that large dump in the market, people are fearing to go long. People were fearing to buy on spot. Right now, we are pumping high continuously on the resistance line. This is where now majority are going long, majority are now buying spot. Might they be an exit liquidity if they didn't get in early? Yes, but we'll see what will happen. I'll still be keeping you guys up to date. I might do another session tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but high chances I'll do another session tomorrow. So cheers and peace. Bye bye.